Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my studio. This is Paint with Lovejoy. Thanks so much for joining me today. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos. If this is your second or third or fourth time being here, thanks so much for coming back and getting creative, and thanks so much for your support. In this video, this is going to be perfect for my beginner painters. We're going to get comfortable with mixing the paint and working with the traceable on some of them and getting comfortable with applying a few layers on the canvas. So what you're going to see in the description box below is a link to a supply kit, and in that supply kit is everything that you need for this particular painting. So grab the supplies that you need and then move on to the painting portion. Another thing that you're going to see in the description box below is a link to what I call a traceable. A traceable is a way to get your initial image or composition on your canvas before you even start painting. And it's a nice tool for my first time and beginner painters to utilize. So feel free to check that out. So once you've kind of gotten comfortable with the painting process and you want to take your skills to the next level, check out my online school, paintwithlovejoy.com, and check out my Paint Your Pet class as well as my intermediate and a little more involved classes. Painting's not about being perfect, but it's about kind of building on your skills and getting better with each painting. So keep pushing yourself, keep kind of stepping out of your comfort zone and growing your skills. You're also more than welcome to change out any colors in any of the videos or the paintings that you do. Feel free to make any of these unique to you and make them your own. So trust your instincts. If you're inclined to change out a color, go right ahead and do that. So I think this is probably enough talking. Let's go ahead and jump into the process of painting. Alright guys, it's going to be another fun painting for the Inspiring Women series. So grab your supplies, transfer your traceable to your surface, and as always, make sure you take your progress photos. Now on mine, I went over my traceable lines with a black Sharpie marker, and that's for those of you at home that are going to pause the video and draw what you see. If you're utilizing the traceable, you do not have to do the black Sharpie markers. And you are more than welcome to change colors on anything on this painting. I'm going to be starting with a red background. We're going to introduce some black later and do some wet on wet blending. And we're going to kind of build on our skills today. We're going to do wet on wet blending in each aspect, each element here on today's painting. Now, if you are using student grade paint, I do recommend that you apply it a little bit thicker. So that way when we do some of our wet on wet blending, it'll be a little bit easier and um, it'll get you a little bit better coverage. So here you saw where I took a little bit of black, and a tiny amount of black goes a long way, and you slap it on your background, and then with light pressure you can kind of move your brush over the top of it. And this is kind of turning it into like a burgundy color. So less is more in this, so a little bit of pigment goes a long way. So start off light and you can always add more pigments. Like you can see here where I added more black. It's going pretty intense. Pretty dark, so if you need to, you can wipe stuff off with a paper towel, or you can apply more red paint like I'm doing here. But do everything that you want to your background now while it's wet, then you can let it dry and move on to the next section. So pause the video, take your progress photo. We're going to move into her blouse, and we're going to start with kind of like a medium blue, and that's white adding blue to it. And your shade might be a little darker or lighter than mine, or a completely different color. Doesn't really matter. So you're going to lay your base color in, and then we'll go in with more of the darker, the direct blue, and do the same thing that we did in the background by doing some wet on wet blending. We will do the opposite. We'll add a highlight with white in there. So that way we're trying to get our three values in each of these sections. So here, grabbing that blue, and again, just kind of observe where I place it and mimic that to the best of your ability on your canvas at home. This does not have to be perfect. It's just kind of giving a general hint of what we are creating. We're not going for exact or photorealistic details. All right, and if you are holding your breath, remember to breathe and relax. You're doing a great job. I'm actually very proud of you for stepping out of your comfort zone and painting at home. So if you see here, I've been grabbing that direct blue. It's not too much darker than the main color. Um, so if you need to, you can change colors or add some black or even red to it to go a little darker. But we're filling in that collar and just kind of throwing it on there pretty thick, pretty good opaque coverage. All right, so a good place to pause the video, take your progress photo. You're going to clean your brush really good. We're going to be moving to light raw sienna, and that's going to be white with raw sienna for the skin tone. And on this one, I do recommend that you apply your paint kind of thick. And I would recommend that you do 2 layers, 2 coats of this skin tone. In the video, I'll only be doing 1. On some of the other Inspiring Women series, I've done 2 layers. Should have done that on this one, so I just recommend that you guys do the first layer on here and then just repeat this process 1 more time with the exact same colors. So again, it's that white and raw sienna, kind of that skin tone color, and we're going to lay it over the entire face, and I am going right over the lines for the glasses. We're going to reapply that with black paint later on. And don't forget, she's got a few ears, 2 ears. You'll see where I put it because it kind of blends in with her hair a little bit, and then also filling in her neck. So again, we're putting that base on there, and then we'll go in with some direct raw sienna and apply it in a few shadow areas, and then we'll use some white to apply in the highlight areas. Now, if you need to, you can move down to the small pointy brush or use that middle flat brush. Doesn't really matter, whatever you are finding comfort with. All right, and there we go. There's for the ears, so just make sure you take note of where the ears are. Then we're going to still stick with that small pointy brush and that raw sienna. It's going to go right underneath the chin, gives that neck a bit of a shadow. We will put a little bit right underneath the chin and kind of like where the eyes would be, the eye sockets, and a little bit kind of going down the edge for the side of the nose. Kind of like contouring the face. So if you are familiar with doing the makeup contouring, feel free to bring in some of those skills here. And then also adding a little bit of a shadow next to the hairline. And then with that light pressure, just kind of blend it into your base of that lighter raw sienna. We're going to do the exact same thing with white next and bring in some highlights. All right, so here grabbing the white, it's going to go kind of on the forehead and basically where the nose would be, and a little bit on the left-hand side of the face and a little bit on that chin. And again, just use that light pressure, blend it into that base color. And like I said earlier, I would recommend letting this dry and repeating this particular section 1 more time. You'll be amazed at how much more opaque it looks and how much better it looks. And I actually should have done that for this video, but obviously I didn't. And this is also, that's part of the things that you learn with painting. You'll do one painting and go, all right, if I did it again, I would do this differently, I would do this better. And that is part of the process. So don't feel bad about critiquing your own work and your own progress. All right, so here we're moving into the lips, and that is the raw sienna with some red. If you want to give her a brighter or different colored lipstick, feel free to do that. You can make it whatever color you want. I'm sure Rosa Parks would be very thrilled just the fact that you are painting and honoring her. All right, and then grabbing a little bit of that red, going right along the center of those lips, and then blending that red into the upper lip. When you're painting a portrait, the upper lip is darker, and then the bottom lip is a little bit lighter. And here you can see where I just grabbed a little bit of that white and put it on the bottom lip just to give a little slight highlight. Does not have to be exact. We are not photorealistic in this painting today. All right, so another place to pause your video and take a progress photo. We're going to move into black paint and fill in her hair and eyebrows. And then we'll actually use the small brush and outline everything with the black paint. So same thing with this, apply your black paint a little bit thicker, just so that way you get better coverage. And then we will put a little bit of gray in there for some little wispy hairs and a little bit of shading. So you guys are doing a great job. If you are holding your breath right now, take a big inhale and just relax. You're doing great. I'm proud of you for painting at home. And one thing that I tell all my students is kind of get in the habit of looking at your painting from a distance of 5 to 10 feet away. It looks entirely different from that distance compared to 2 feet in front of your face while you are painting it. So the more you can kind of get in that habit of looking at your artwork from the normal viewing distance, the more you can adjust and add things that you want. And there we go, going back to the black, getting those eyebrows in, and then we will be moving into drawing the glasses and doing the outline again. And as we move into these smaller lines, I want you to play with the pressure of your brush. Light pressure is going to be a little bit smaller, skinnier line. A little more pressure is going to make a little bit wider line. And before we do that, we're actually going to move into that gray. So that was white with a little bit of gray, and get those hairlines in there. If your black paint is still really wet, you could actually use the direct white, and as you move it through the black paint, it will diffuse a little bit into the gray. So wherever you are at with how wet or dry your paint is. And if you move your brush, kind of make these marks in the direction that the hair would go, that just kind of emphasizes that it is hair a little bit more. You guys are doing great. All right, another place if you do want to take a progress photo, and then we'll move into the black, and it does help if you let it dry, so that way you don't get other colors smeared into it. But like I said earlier, play with the pressure of your brush, light pressure, a little bit more pressure. If you have varying widths of lines in here, that's okay. That is where you're at for today's painting. Each time that you paint, you're building on your skills, and when you paint again, what you're learning today makes even more sense the next time that you paint. So that's why I encourage all of my students to paint on a more regular basis. It's a good stress relieving activity. It's a good way to just kind of escape the regular, logical, crazy world and just kind of zone into your own process. And it is very satisfying to transform that blank white surface of the canvas into your final painting of something that you created, and you can always kind of look back at your progress pictures and be impressed with what you made. So as we move into the glasses, again, just kind of play with that pressure. If you need to, rest your forearm against the edge of the table. You can even put your pinky out and use that as a pivot point. If you want to give her different styled glasses, or you're not sure what it looks like, you can always reference the Traceable or the initial image. And same when you're working on the lips, just kind of keep that light pressure. If you're finding this is too difficult, let everything dry, and you can use a Sharpie marker to do this. But you do need your paint to be dry for the marker to stick. All right, so actually going back into a light blue or a white. I actually prefer white, and just going to be putting some highlights on there. Again, and here we go, it'll show up a little bit better. And just kind of giving a little bit of a reflective highlight on the glasses. Then we'll put some on that bottom lip. We're going to put a little bit on the collar and a few other spots. So again, just kind of observe the general place of where you see each of these colors going. If you're inclined to put a highlight somewhere I do not, trust your instincts. Go ahead and do that. If you end up not liking it later on, just paint the original color back on top of it. But getting comfortable with trusting your instincts is a big part of creativity. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for hanging out and getting creative. Until next time, cheers. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the process of painting, and I hope you are happy with how your paintings turned out. I'm really proud of you for getting creative. As you're uploading these to social media, please tag me at or hashtag paintwithlovejoy, or email me your pictures, paintwithlovejoy@gmail.com. I really enjoy seeing them. I try to post them on social media to encourage other beginner painters to try the process of painting. But please share this with your community as well. Anybody who is kind of scared to paint, share your experience with them and let them know kind of how much you benefited from it and how much you enjoyed the process. So kind of share the fun. With that being said, if you have any comments, questions, feedback, things that you want me to paint in the future, please leave a comment. I try to respond to everybody as quickly as I can. And any of the future suggestions for paintings, I add that to my production list. And get to them as quickly as I can. So in the meantime, please keep getting creative. Let me know how you're doing, and until next time, cheers.